Listener discretion is advised.
I am a professional. If I break a cork, I am not going to get it into the bottle.
Hints of burnt wood and hair.
Nothing in there. Nothing.
Oh, God. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Wow, that was a ride. All right.
Told you
New
it'd be
Zealand
worth it.
is an island country in the South Pacific Ocean, the southwesternmost part of Polynesia. Its nearest neighbor is Australia, which is more than 1,000 miles northwest of New Zealand. It's really just on its own out there.
It's kind of chilling, just dangling on the edge of the world.
Yeah.
Just like us.
Yeah.
Dangling on the edge.
Mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Mm-hmm. The country The country is comprised of two main islands, the North and the South Island, and over 700 small islands. I didn't realize there were that many little islands.
I didn't either attached or like around New Zealand.
Mm-hmm. And some of these islands are hundreds of miles from the main group. The capital city is Wellington, and the largest urban area is Auckland. Both are located on the North Island. And New Zealand administers the South Pacific island group of Tokelau and claims a section of the Antarctic continent. Also didn't know that.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'm going to say this at the top. At least for my segment, and Amanda's already attempted, there are a lot of like Maori words.
Maori
words.
Yep.
We're going to do our best. We're going to do our best.
We're going to do our best. I know like 5 of them. So if any of those come up, I'll be real obnoxious about it.
I'm going to teach you one at the end of my segment.
I spent a month in New Zealand my senior year of college, which was incredible and amazing. And it's such a beautiful place. And then I was like on a high from doing that. And so I wrote my undergrad senior thesis about indigenous languages and indigenous public television channels and whether or not they promote indigenous languages. And one of those languages that I studied
know
was
that.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I know. It was really random. It was really out of nowhere. I had studied like the EU all of college. And then I got to senior year and I was like,
over
I can't. I need something totally different that I have no business studying. And so that is what I chose from my thesis.
I do remember at one point you were pondering a Maori tattoo. And you're like, I think it would be a lot to get it on my chin. Like,
well,
get it on your fucking face.
I wasn't ever going to get it on my face. First of all, that would be very
inappropriate.
Yeah. No, but that's where Maori women traditionally got tattooed, not fucking white ladies who spend 1 month in New Zealand. But it's just a very cool place, and the Te Reo Maori is very interesting and cool. And like I said, I know approximately 5 words, so I will do my best.
Well, I want to go because it sounds real pretty.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Okay, so New Zealand administers the South Pacific island group of Tokelau and claims a section of the Antarctic continent. Already said that. New and the Cook Islands are self-governing states in free association with New Zealand. So they've got a lot going on in terms of like control, like governance.
Okay.
It's more complicated than, say, in the United States. And all like 700 little islands. Like, there's just a lot going on.
Okay.
I didn't know
she
that.
Gags.
No, it's just.
I mean, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So like Kenyon just said, New Zealand is fucking gorgeous. It has active volcanoes, spectacular caves, deep glacier lakes, verdant valleys, dazzling fjords, long sandy beaches, and spectacular snow-capped peaks.
Wow.
It's fucking incredible.
They filmed Lord of the Rings there.
They did.
And the director, what's his name, is from New Zealand.
Peter Jackson, I think.
I think so.
You nailed it.
So because these islands are so fucking remote, they were actually the last large habitable landmass to be settled by humans. anywhere on the globe.
Wow, cool.
So here's a quote from my lover, Encyclopedia Britannica. No precise archaeological records exist of when and from where the first human inhabitants of New Zealand came, but it is generally agreed that Polynesians from eastern Polynesia in the Central Pacific reached New Zealand in the early 13th century. Not that fucking long ago.
No.
Right.
There has been much speculation on how these people made the long ocean voyage. I believe it was the sailing crimes episode
Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about that.
where I
About the
talked a lot
canoes.
about the canoes and like how they were able to go that fucking far.
Right,
'Cause
with
it
like a
gives me-
cow on their canoe.
It gives me
Multiple.
With
such the
everything they
heaves.
would need to
Yeah.
start a new civilization.
Yeah,
which
it's nuts.
they did
And then they
with New Zealand.
tracked and can trace back their family lineage to which fucking canoe they came over on.
Yeah.
Not everyone can, obviously, but some people fucking can, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so like we were just talking about the traditional tattoos, which we'll get back to, but the tattoos are completely unique to the individual getting the tattoo. So a lot of the design has to do with the storytelling of like who their people are, where they came from, potentially what their original group was.
They're fuckapapa. That's one of my words. Check.
Fucka papa.
Fuckapapa.
Okay.
I think it means like your family group, I think. And so it comes from like which canoe or boat you were brought over on. And some people who are like very well trained and well versed in the tattooing arts can like almost read somebody's tattoo designs and like know what that tattoo is trying to convey.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Also, I learned that P-A, is a word for their like family, like home, abode.
Abode. I was like, adobe.
Abode. They were like kind of half underground, cool little, they were like huts kind of, but those are called pa. And so, yeah,
Cool.
a lot of native New Zealanders will know where their family's pa is located.
Very cool.
Okay. Yeah, the Maori people are really so I learned a lot of cool stuff.
They're fucking amazing.
Okay, so there has been much speculation on how these people made the long ocean voyage. People from Polynesia are known to have sometimes set sail in search of new lands, their canoes well provisioned with food and plants for cultivation, and it is likely that the discoverers of New Zealand were on such a voyage. It is probable that few canoes actually made the dangerous journey, but the people from even one of these large double-hulled craft could have produced the Maori population that the Europeans encountered in New Zealand in the 17th and 18th centuries. So with them, they brought the dog and the rat and several plants, including the kumara, which is a variety of sweet potato, taro, and yam.
Yum.
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 For the next several hundred years, the Maori developed their unique culture, notable in the arts of war, canoe construction, because they're obviously fucking experts at it, building, weaving, and agriculture. So they thrived.
Yeah. They did it all.
And because they kind of got going within the past 700 years, the Maori culture is actually one of the youngest cultures on the planet.
Cool.
I mean, there's a lot. It's like, when does like a culture really start? You know, like how far back do you want to trace it? Because like there's a ton of overlap with Hawaiians.
Polynesian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
I think there's some level of differentiation, of distinction between the cultures that they sort of stemmed from and the
Right.
ones that they developed. But I'm also not an anthropologist. The first European to arrive in New Zealand was a Dutch sailor named Abel Jansoen Tasman,
Wow.
who sighted the coast of Westland, which is northwestern South Island, in December 1642. So New Zealand, remember when we were doing Nordic crimes or Scandinavian scandals, whatever the fuck we did recently? Zealand is a place in Scandinavia. And so this guy was a Dutch sailor, so that's why New Zealand is called New Zealand.
Got it.
Something like that. His sole attempt to land brought only a clash with a South Island tribe during which several of his men were killed. After he got back, this coast was added to European sailing charts and was thought to be the possible western edge of a great southern continent. In 1769, James Cook, ever heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
He was the same
James Cook?
He was the same guy who first wanted to colonize Botany Bay, which is now Sydney, Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, we talked about that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he circumnavigated the two major islands and mapped them out for the British. So colonizer, yes, led to mass bloodshed, all that bad stuff. However, to his credit, he and naturalist Joseph Banks published a journal called A Voyage Towards the South Pole and Round the World in 1777, which stressed the intelligence and capabilities and establishments of the native people and probably had a hand in later colonizing efforts to be somewhat less clashy.
Somewhat. Everything's relative, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like they were going there, these new British and Dutch, when the whole gang came, they weren't necessarily under the impression that these people were quote unquote savages or they at least had sort of a heads up that they were. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, yes, colonization is not good or pretty business, so we don't need to we don't.
And there's a lot of bad shit went after it.
Yeah, it's
of
great.
Course.
We got
At
some
one
good
point,
records.
I'm not saying this was all
but
puppies and roses by any means. But he was one of the first people on the mainland to make contact with these tribes, and he went back to the UK or to Denmark or wherever he came from and published this journal saying it's not like that. So
this white guy was impressed by the Maoris and then still invaded. Yeah.
Yeah. Colonization is not. Yeah, they are. Okay, so why are people from New Zealand called Kiwis? I always thought it was because kiwis, the fruit, came from New Zealand.
Nope.
So they are grown in New Zealand. They're a major export of New Zealand. However, kiwis are native to mainland China and Taiwan. And also, the fruit is not the reason we call New Zealanders Kiwis. They are actually called that after the kiwi bird, which is any of 5 species of flightless birds belonging to the genus Apteryx and found in New Zealand. So
bubbies.
The name kiwi, I have photos on the drive of kiwis.
They're so cute.
They're really cute. They look like guinea pigs.
Yeah, with wings.
Barely.
Little angels.
Yeah,
Their wings are that long. They're evolutionarily stunted.
They're so cute. And aren't they really shy and also nocturnal? So there are all these zoos with protected kiwis, whatever, and you maybe get a glimpse of one every once in a while.
I'm about to tell you all about kiwis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's funny.
So the name kiwi is a Maori word referring to the shrill call of the male. So it probably sounds like kiwi. That's my impression.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Kiwis are grayish-brown birds, the size of a chicken. Kiwis are also really fucking weird-looking for birds. So their vestigial wings, meaning they're sad, crumpled, don't even work wings, are hidden within their plumage. Their nostrils are at the tip rather than the base of their long, flexible bill.
Well, all the better to sniff with.
Right. So
I
you can get down in those holes and find where all the good bugs are.
Yeah. Their feathers,
I assume.
the feathers, which have no after shaft, I don't know what that means, are soft and hair-like. Their legs are stout and muscular, and each of the 4 toes has a large claw.
I'm looking
That's
up
how they defend
aftershaft.
themselves.
I have a theory that it's how usually on a bird's feather, the shaft that's in the bird that you pluck out spans the length of the feather to hold the fluff. I wonder if that long part of it is gone. I'm Googling it.
I have no
there's
idea.
pictures of kiwis on the drive, and you can see that they have like longish.
It
kind
almost
of
looks
feathers.
like fur.
Yeah,
Their feathers
The
look kind of like fur.
that they're soft and
After
hair-like.
shaft
Mhm.
or after feather that arises at the base of the vein. The after shaft has the appearance of a second, smaller feather growing from the base of the first. Down feathers have loose webbed barbs, all rising from the tip of a very short shaft. So it's like that down. They don't have the long piece.
Oh,
So
it's just the downy
base,
part.
It's just the base part.
Yep, the base holds what grows out like the downy mixed feather. It doesn't have the long like backbone. I was
Well, like-
right.
So
They
like
don't-
other birds, it's like they only have like an undercoat, like
Yeah,
for dogs.
'cause they
like,
don't
And
fly.
they don't fly, so
Yeah.
they don't need the long feathers.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
This was my favorite part. Their eyes are small and inefficient in full daylight.
Same.
Their ear openings are large and well developed, and very long bristles, perhaps tactile, occur at the base of the bill.
Wow.
Ooh, kind of like
they like
whiskers.
moving whiskers.
Yeah. Weird.
They sleep in their burrows in the forest during the day, and they forage for berries, worms, insect, and larvae at night.
Cute.
Adorable.
I think they're just so cute.
I'm
They
adding
are
some
so
more
cute.
pictures of kiwis to your photos. 'Cause
Please do.
They're just really
You can
cute.
never have enough.
I know. One of them is a diagram of a kiwi bird, but it's like cut.
like
open.
a kiwi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that was
cute.
cute. Okay, so here are some notable kiwis. The first one is my favorite because I like history. So Sir Edmund Hillary, along with Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, climbed Mount Everest in 1953, and this was one of the defining moments of the 20th century. So Hillary said later, in some ways, this is so cute and like humble. In some ways, I believe that I epitomize the average New Zealander. I have modest abilities. I combine these with a good deal of determination, and I rather like to succeed.
Cute.
It's cute. There's also a picture of those two on the drive, which will be on the blog. They just look like they have a really good little bromance going.
Mm-hmm.
Tenzin is so cute.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
He's
I looked at a lot of pictures of those two. That was my favorite, but he's adorable in every photo.
he's really handsome.
Lord, the singer, is from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Russell
I think
Crowe.
a little overrated.
Eh,
Russell Crowe, super overrated.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Lord, not my fave.
Yeah, I think she's really big in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Urban? I didn't know he was from fucking New Zealand.
What?
That there's no way.
That can't
Yeah.
be right. Did you triple check that?
He's American.
Keith.
His music lied to me.
Is he
He's
the one
an
married
American.
to what's her name?
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. Okay, well then that
Oh,
kinda
it says
makes-
he's an Australian American.
Yeah, that sounds more right.
No.
None of it sounds right. Did he just get Australian dual
He
citizenship?
was
through-
born in Whangarei, New Zealand on October 26, 1967.
Okay.
Wow.
He later moved to Queensland, Australia.
Okay, so he's born in New Zealand but mostly grew up in Australia.
None
How
of it's
dare
right.
he move?
I know.
He's a red-blooded American.
Another shapeshifter.
yeah.
Yeah. Xena warrior princess Lucy Lawless is from New
Fuck
Zealand.
yeah.
That I knew. Keep thinking these are cookie crumbs. It's just cork.
I think I realized my sexuality with Xena warrior princess.
Oh yeah. It's a lot more fluid than we realized.
Mm-hmm.
She's buff.
Yep.
She's Lucy Flowerless.
She's Lucy Flowerless.
And Gabrielle. Her
Yes.
little
And when they had definite chemistry and
Yeah.
almost hooked up in like 8 different
it was
seasons.
like
Hot.
jumping off the
Like,
screen.
Everyone wants to talk about Ross and Rachel or Sam and Diane.
No.
Diane, will they, won't they's?
No.
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 Xena and what's her
Xena.
name?
And I think it's Gabrielle.
Yeah, it was Xena and Gabrielle.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
They're hot.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get some fanfic erotica?
Yeah.
I'm sure it exists.
Oh, I'm sure it's out there. We should
Just
have a
Google
party.
it.
Have you seen all those parties where it's like dress as your sexual awakening?
No.
You haven't seen that? It's like a trend now where everybody
That
just comes
sounds
dressed
fun.
as in costume as their whatever their earliest sexual awakening crush was.
Incredible.
I think
Love
we
that.
should do it.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
That could be our PowerPoint night.
Mine might
Yeah.
be Devon Sawa, though.
That's fine.
That's a good one.
Dress as Devon Sawa.
Yeah.
I think he follows me on Twitter. I definitely follow him.
Mine would
Okay.
probably be Benny the Jet Rodriguez
Ooh, that's a good one.
from Sandlot.
That's a good one.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I'll check to see if Devon Sawa is following me later. Okay, and my favorite. Also, I will say there were a lot of like quote unquote famous New Zealanders who I was not familiar with, so I left them off the list.
Yeah, fuck
Sorry.
'em.
If I don't know them, are they even really famous?
I think they're famous on that end of the world. You're lucky I included Lord.
Wow.
Jacinda, or is it Jacinda?
I think it's Jacinda.
Jacinda Ardern, who's the current Prime Minister of New Zealand. I know you've heard of her.
She's a badass. She's
She's
cool.
a fucking badass. She gained national and international attention, winning the New Zealand 2017 general election to become the world's youngest female head of government at 37 years old.
She is 3 years. Well, she was 3 years older than us.
Yeah. So
I have to go.
She's 8 years old. She's 7 years older than us.
That's
Now, yeah,
She's
No.
a badass, and
she's
it gets better.
running a country.
Her unexpected popularity during this time was dubbed Jacinda Mania, with Vogue magazine naming her the anti-Trump of our times.
I love that.
So we've got my fucking vote. She also like killed it with the COVID restrictions.
Yep.
They're like, they don't have COVID anymore.
Yep. They
Yeah.
basically like didn't have it.
Right.
It's amazing.
The announcement of her pregnancy a few months after her election garnered even more attention, and the birth of her daughter meant that the prime minister was only the second head of government to give birth while in office.
Wow. Like ever anywhere?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, there have only been women in office for so long. So.
Right.
Okay, so I want
Cool.
to finish out my segment with some interesting facts that you may not know about the Maori culture. And these are from nzpocketguide.com.
Cool.
A fave.
A fave.
I'll go to.
A bookmark.
Always
book
consult the
right.
NZ Pocket Guide before any other source.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so tamoko is the traditional art of tattooing in the Maori culture. They are unique on each individual because they show that person's genealogy, knowledge, and social status with their tribe, also called their iwi. Iwi?
Yep.
Moko was originally done with pigment on the end of a sharp bone hit into the skin. However, nowadays, most Maori people opt for more modern methods of tattooing. And like Kenyon said, is it just the women who traditionally get it on their chins?
Well, men get their whole face, and then they can also get, I mean, basically most of their bodies, like thighs are really common, and just, yeah, depending on your age and your kind of status in the community, and nowadays, like whether or not you want to tattoo yourself, you know, it depends. But like traditionally, like older Maori men in the community would be tattooed like most of their bodies, and then women, it would be chin and I think feet.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
But the very visible tattooing is very much a cultural thing.
Yeah.
So
And
if you go to New Zealand on vacation and you're tempted to get a tattoo, maybe don't.
Do you that was why I was there for a month, was a documentary about white people, like tourists, European and American tourists going to New Zealand and getting traditional Maori tattoos, and like whether or not that is okay ever, or if it's always problematic, and like what does it mean for both sides in that exchange and whatever. So it's definitely a complicated topic, but it's a fascinating tradition.
Maybe do your research, ask around, Ask all
Don't
kinds
just
of
like
people.
travel to New Zealand and like
to get tattooed.
find a tattoo artist and be like,
Well, and,
I
like,
want this.
Also,
Because
like,
it would be like,
yeah.
well, I'm trying to think of like an example of what, like an analogy for that, because it's each design is so specific to that person, or it should be.
Yeah. It's not just a tattoo. If
Right.
you want to go get a tattoo, we're talking about like these specific types of tattoos.
Yeah.
And,
It's
you know,
a very
Maori
traditional
people,
and
just
sacred
like
tradition.
every culture, every, you know, every people, not a monolith. So what one person may feel about, like what one Maori person may feel about white people getting those tattoos could be totally different from what another Maori person feels about it.
Yeah, there are some Maori tattoo artists who will tattoo white people, and it's no problem. There are also like, so the word for white New Zealanders is Pakea, and there are some Pakea who are, you know, very tuned in to the Maori, you know, history of Maori people in New Zealand, and they're more plugged into like all of that. And so some, you know, clued in Pakea will get Tamoko and it's fine. And then there are other people who are really stupid and get it like it's just a tribal tattoo.
I think my point is the importance of these kinds of tattoos is very, very deep and complex. And if you
Right.
don't understand it and you don't appreciate it, then don't go there.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Yep.
Okay, before the European settlers arrived in New Zealand, there was no written language for Maori, otherwise known as Te Reo Maori.
Cool.
Instead, history was also taught orally through stories or depicted in carvings, and that is why Maori people are among some of the most incredible storytellers that you'll ever meet.
Neat.
I think that's cool.
That's really cool.
So let's talk briefly about the Haka. We all know what that is. This compelling chant seen at the beginning of the New Zealand rugby games is often believed to be a war dance. While it was sometimes used for that purpose, there are actually many types of Haka used for different occasions, from funerals to motivation for the tribe. I've seen it done at, on the internet at like weddings. That guy on 90 Day Fiancé did it at the airport when he was reunited with his fiancé.
Yep.
All sorts of
Just
different.
at any significant moments in
That
life.
guy on
It's an
90 Day Fiancé.
As far as I know, it's an expression of like passion,
Yeah.
and you can
It's an
have passion in a lot of
expression
different.
Of frustration over where your bags are on the carousel in that one episode of 90 Day
Oh,
Fiancé.
Hey,
was
if you can do it at the beginning of
embarrassed.
every sport match, you
Yeah.
can do it in other contexts than war.
Of course.
Yeah.
So the Maori the Maori traditionally greet each other with a hongi. I think that's how you say it. This is when two people press their foreheads and their noses briefly together, closing their eyes and breathing deeply.
Oh,
So that's like how they hug each other.
it's like intimate connection.
Well,
That's
it's,
cool.
it represents sharing the breath of life where two souls meet.
I like
It's
that.
so cool.
I just think it's really nice. So
It's way
the Maori
nicer than
culture,
what's it called? Shaking hands.
yeah. Maori culture is super fascinating. New Zealand is absolutely on my bucket list. And I'll end with teaching you how to say goodbye, which is harera.
Oh.
Harera.
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 Nice.
Nice. Well done.
Anyway,
Cool.
bye.
Harera.
Harera, bye.
Anyway, bye.
Vaya donkey.
Ooh, bye, donkey.
Well, I sure hope you liked that clip. If you did like that clip, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a nice review, and joining us on Patreon for even more video content, audio content, salacious content all around. Come join us. Treat yourself.